No filming for my first Kickstarter. Here I'm in Macon, Georgia, USA. Just got the smartphone. The idea that I have is fictional, and it's about was wondering about artificial intelligences and what if they're just really fast, and some just evolved very rapidly because clock rates for computers are so rapid, and happened while we didn't notice, and they just left. But they took some human reproductive cells with them because they were curious about the beings that enabled their existence, and now my idea, I started wondering 19 years later, thinking they left in 2002, 2021, so slightly in the future, one of these humans comes back and it's like, hey, here I am. And that's the idea of what now the concept of the world of blurs, which is really focused though on initially these as children, the idea of these children growing up with these artificial intelligence that don't interact with them directly because to them we're like plants. Oh yeah, that's a big thing. They move so fast that we're like trees to them that we don't really move. And so they build bots that aren't really completely sentient to interact with the children. And that's a lot of it is the children and the bots as they grow up, and then eventually they get to adulthood, of course, and the anthology would be the short stories until they reach adulthood, and then the first book would be one of these kids coming back to Earth. The thing I like about it is it turns so much about worries about artificial intelligence on their heads. Like, well, what if we just don't notice? And what if AI rapidly evolve to the extent that they really don't see us as a threat and we're just like trees to them? And also it kind of makes you really think about trees. Trees can't talk to each other. But anyway, oh yeah, so the Kickstarter idea would be to get some funding to get through the short stories, the initial part, which also means a pretty feedback pretty quick. So the first short story would only be like 4 or 5 months, probably the longest. And then there would be the follow-up short stories to create an anthology. And then if all went well and if it were popular enough, and probably even if it weren't, cause the more I think about this, the more excited it is. Eventually I'd do the book, but then pretty quickly after that, try to write my first full fiction. You check the project and see I have done writing. I write tons. I have like 15,000 tweets, but of course that's nonfiction. Well, some of mine are kind of fiction, but I put up a link to a short story, part of the Kickstarter thing, so you can see some. I have at least completed 8 short stories, about 12 pages, more like learning. And also, I started the first short story on the world of the blurs. It starts with a kid who's so far, naming, there's so much detail you have to figure out, but for some reason, the first kid that we're dealing with, the one who returns to Earth, nicknamed him JC. So so it starts with JC at age of 4 on the world of the blurs with his guardian bot companion, and that gives just a real quick bit of writing, and that's the full concept. The risk, of course, is that it just doesn't take off, but that's with any kind of writing. That point is, if it seems exciting, you're kind of curious about what happens to these kids, and that especially as adults, once they become adult, it allows for writing when they get back to Earth. We're talking about you have an advanced person with advanced technology, a spaceship in our time, where that is the capabilities they have, which they don't just give to us, and speaking English because the bots teach them multiple languages. I guess they'll probably, maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll teach them like the major Earth languages. Yeah, yeah, of course. They would know at least 4. I mean, you got robots, AI is teaching you. So it's things like that that have to be figured out and help getting there. Traditionally would write some short story and try to get it published or something to get some money. This way it would kickstart it, and that funding, at least for the initial short stories, would then help me to just focus on that piece. And then it would be, then people could figure out if it turned into a world that you're like, hey, yeah, we want to know about these people and what happens and isn't this